educate our children to take their place in the economies of the 21st century. How do we do that? Given that we can't anticipate what the economy will look like at the end of next week. Every country on Earth is trying to figure out how do we educate our children so they have a sense of cultural identity and so that we can pass on the cultural genes of our communities while being part of the process of globalization. How do we square that circle?
You call that radio?
Makes coherent sense.
Good evening, everyone. How are you doing? This is You Call That Radio. Tonight we have a very special guest, Jim Monaghan, in the house. Apologies for... Well, we weren't on last night. Hopefully he's got the memo. But out of respect for the hashtag, the show must be paused movement, I spoke to Abdominal yesterday and we decided that it wouldn't be right to go on with the show. And I've heard lots of competing theories. I tried to read up on all the different theories. Different people seem to have different definitions on what the movement's about. But the overarching thing is white people should shut up and listen for a bit. And that's something I agree with. So I shut up and tried to educate myself in other ways. So the good news is, though, is that Abdominal will be back next Tuesday on the 9th of June. So you will still see Abdominal live on the show just next week. And it actually works out a wee bit better because he's going to have a new release out on Friday. So I'm looking forward to hearing that and then talking a bit about that as well. So, and tomorrow night we have Kathy McCormick, who's a community activist and has made some brilliant films and done amazing work since the 80s, 90s, kind of run about the poll tax, poverty of Easterhouse, run about then. So I'm looking forward to that tomorrow. We've got Sam Small next week as well. We've got Capital 1212 and some amazing guests to be announced very soon. But tonight it's all about Jim Monaghan, who you might recognise from the Poetry Slam judge, from the Poetry Slams that we've done in previous shows. We are also, you will maybe know Jim just if you're in the poetry scene. He's been doing it for 30 years, apparently celebrating 30 years this year. So we're talking about his poetry career, the community work he does, his life in politics, and he's had a colourful career in the music business as well. So lots of interesting stuff to talk about. Hit that share button. Let me know in the comments if you can hear me okay. I'm trying a new thing for the quality, because we've had some shite video quality recently, so I'm trying now with an Ethernet cable. So let me know if you can see an improvement in the sound and the video quality. You will definitely see an improvement in the quality if you go to Twitch rather than Facebook, because Facebook is shite. They mute us, they delete us, they censor us. So go on to twitch.tv/You Call That Radio if you can. In fact, we've got the new graphics, the fancy graphics. I forgot about that. What about this? What do you make of this, guys? For Twitch. How good's that? So I go into Twitch, it sounds better, it looks better there. And if you don't know what a Twitch is and you can't be arsed finding out, then we're also on the YouTube. We're on the YouTube as well. See that? Shouts to Malfunction for the snazzy new graphics. And this show is powered by our Patreons. So thanks to everyone who's been supporting the show. We're building a thing. You can go to patreon.com, you can go to PayPal, you can go to Ko-fi.com as well if you want to help support us. We're trying to hit the target of 150 Patreons so we could get the green screen sorted out. We did hit 152, but because it's the start of the new month, we lost a few and we're now back down at 147. But the green screen will be on the way in the next couple of days. Thanks to everyone who's been supporting the show. And let's get our guest on. the legendary Jim Monaghan.
If you wanna keep tabs on the underground scene, then you better tune in to this quarantine stream. Call that video. You call that video. Call that video. You call that video.
Strange mood of our time.
You call that radio.
Here to tell people that we hear you. One God will not allow.
You call that radio.
However you want to see it.
You call that radio.
However you want to say it, that's kind of part of the fun.
Powered by our patrons.
Brothers and sisters.
We are indeed powered by our patrons. Much love to everybody supporting on Patreon. You can also support the show just by hitting the share button or leaving a comment during the show and letting us know how you're doing. Or if you've got a question for Jim, then let us know. Jim, morning. Can you hear us?
How's it going, Mark? Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Good stuff, mate. Glad.
It's just slightly better.
Are we just slightly better than we used to be?
Yeah,
That's
always improving. It's 40 years, Mark.
40 years.
40 years, aye.
Can you remember your first gig?
Teenager.
Can you remember your first gig?
The first time I did poetry was we used to just organise wee gigs amongst our mates that were in punk bands, and between two bands I read what was lyrics for a punk band that never happened, that me and my mate had, and that was the first time I did it. Aye. And I've always kind of done it amongst friends and things like that stuff. But the first one was 1980 in a church hall in Gosson or Sturton or something.
And what was the poetry like? What was the
It was fucking terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Can you remember it? Can you remember one of your first poems or your first lyrics?
Do you know what? I can remember quite a few of them, but I would never repeat them. They're like totally embarrassing. Totally when I was like 17 and thought I knew how to solve the world's problems in a song, which was a bit of the times. But they're terrible. No, you're not getting them.
I think we should hear them. I think it'd be a good night. I think it'd be a good night for this show if we all just got together, our first lyric book show, and we all just shared the.
I would write a new one and pretend it was my first one. That's what I would do. In fact, I think most people would do that.
I seen a thing on Netflix, or I think it was Netflix, it might be YouTube, I don't know. But it was a thing, and it was like, it's taking off all over America, and it's people reading out their diaries from when they were children, and they seemed faked. You know what I mean? They seemed like they wasn't actually real. It'd been made up. And I think that's what people would do. But if anyone out there wants to honestly share their first lyrics, then let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's have a laugh.
And, so what you been doing with yourself? You still? I know you do loads of community stuff. Are you still working, or is lockdown limited?
I work at the moment. At the moment, I work still for Govan Hill Baths Community Trust, so I work for them as the arts coordinator. But most of my job is based around the events we do, things like the Govan Hill Festival. So it's quite difficult. It's kind of curtailed, but we're still working. And the Baths is doing a lot of work in the community responding to COVID, like carrying on all the things we normally would do, but doing them online, and we're delivering packs to people, everything for growing packs to, so the pottery club get deliveries of clay and all that kind of stuff. So we're trying to keep everything going and keep the community going. But so I'm still working from home though. It's great. You can smoke at your work. It's brilliant.
Just checking the levels here. I'm getting told I'm a bit quiet. Mark, your volume's a bit low. Mark, you're quiet and Jim's really loud. Is that better? I've just changed things a wee bit.
Am I really loud?
No, it's not that you're loud, it's that I'm too quiet. So if I can just get to your loudness, then people can turn down their TV. Is that better? Can someone let me know in the comments if that's better, especially the people that were complaining? Have I fixed it?
fine. I can hear you.
You can hear it. Fuck it. It is what it is. that should be it. Okay, Jim. Well, what is when you obviously you smoke at home, but you don't drink at home?
Nah, I don't drink at home. I don't know. It's not.
You are a person that enjoys a pint, though. You enjoy a pint.
I love a drink.
aspect.
Yeah, I love a pint, but I think a pint's a thing that happens in a pub. It's a kind of social element having a pint for me, and I've never done it, and it's just something that it's not a hard and fast rule. Like if somebody came in for dinner and we opened wine, I'd probably have a glass of wine. But I could if no one came here and there was a bottle of wine there, it'd be there the next time they come back. You know, I don't like drink it. Certainly not on my own. It's good. It means I've saved a fortune during lockdown.
Sorry, man. I think I figured it out. That's a bit.
Left alone there.
Sorry, man. Yeah, but you see that Iona sorted out with an outdoor pub.
Oh yeah, that was brilliant. Aye, so I did a big greeting Wayne like Facebook meltdown thing about how shit the lockdown was and how lonely I was and all that shit. So my friends Iona and Daniel decided to make a pub in their back garden called the Open Arms, and a social distance pub. And a few of us had a lovely wee night, you know, so because they knew I was missing getting out for a drink and I didn't drink at home. So I went over there and get drunk in their back garden. It was brilliant. It's a fantastic thing to do. Cheered me up no end.
The Govanhill Baths, man, I seen a thing last night that is starting a pantry. And
food pantry, yeah.
So it's like taking a food bank to the next level.
Aye, it's a cooperative. It's a massive project. And it'll be like people. There'll be volunteers, but it'll be run by like paid employees and things. So we've got a shop at Cat Road in the middle of Govanhill, and we're going to open it as a food pantry. People pay £2.50 to join the co-op, and then after that you can get 15 quid worth of messages for £2, and a good selection of stuff. Set up like a normal shop. It's not like going in and like begging or anything like that kind of stuff. The stigma that some people have going to a food bank. I've never had to, and but I do understand that loads of people I know will say, "Oh no, I'm not going to queuing in the food bank and things." But it's just a shop, and everybody can join. It's aimed at helping people who can't afford it. So you can pay solidarity prices. You can get around and get your 15 quid worth of messages and pay 15 quid if you want. But it's it would have been probably open by now, but for the lockdown, so it's open. I think we're moving into the shop quite soon to start getting it painted and decorated. And then as soon as the lockdown's over, or maybe even before then, we'll be able to open with social distancing. So it's quite a big project, and it's a breakthrough. There's 2 or 3 of them in Glasgow and around Scotland. And it's like a better way of doing like food solidarity, and also helps people like get a good shop, not just get what you've been given at a bag at the food bank. You know, you can get and choose what it is you want. You know, so that's
a brilliant idea, man. Because that does take away. You're still getting to pick. You're actually getting to pick what you want, and you're actually paying, but a much better deal.
And there's a kind of exchange rate things rather than like prices. It's like, I think it's colour coded, so you can get like 2 green things and 1 red thing and 2 blue things or something like that. You know, so there's a kind of a measurement in there. So there's 3 or 4 different kind of set prices, and it's been trialled elsewhere. There's one starting, I think, in East End quite soon. It's a wee bit ahead of us, but really excited about it. Govanhill Baths does. When I started in 2012, I started with them. I was the only like permanent employee there, and now at the staff meetings on Zoom, there's 18 of us, 18 staff working there, all really busy, all doing things in the community. Yeah, everything from like knitting groups and pottery groups through to refurbishing the swimming pool, which is our main thing. Rags to Riches project, the food pantry and things like that. So it's huge now. It's really, really expanded, and it's really at the centre of what's going on in the community. You know?
Well, I mean, I think I'd love to do. There's a really good film about Govanhill Baths, and I think it'd be really good to do a special on it at one point where we can watch the movie and talk about stuff. Maybe get a few of the staff members on, Jim. But just a little bit of background for people who don't know about it. how did it all begin, and why is it such an important part of the community?
It's in 2001 it started when the starting rumours were going around that the swimming pool was going to close, and they were building a big PFI funded one down at the Gorbals. Like, the council were saying it was costing too much. So they did the usual where they kind of said they had a public consultation, but they hadn't really. Nobody in the area wanted it to close. And then they got wind, the local people got wind that it was going to, they were going to shut it earlier than they planned. And they were going to shut it on Monday night. And so quite a few people just went in, local activists, people that were involved with the swimming clubs that worked in there, people that were just like locals who used the pool and occupied the building. In March, I think it was 2001, it became the longest like continuous occupation of a public building in British history. I think it still is. And they were in there for 147 days, which is quite incredible. And we had a 24-hour picket line outside. It was quite amazing. So that established the kind of community support for it. And it went on for years and years and years after that. There was a big, the occupation ended with like 200 cops turning up with sheriff's officers and everything like that. There was a big, what we call the Battle of Calder Street, went on for about 18 hours, the locals and the police to and froing. And eventually that ended the occupation. But for a few years, they kept campaigning to like get it reopened. And eventually the council put it up for sale. They formed a community trust. And have been fighting since then really to like be recognised as the only viable people to buy it. It's a listed building. And eventually, after years and years, in 2012, we got the keys to get back in, raised the money to refurbish the whole building, and now it's closed down. It's going to reopen with 2 swimming pools and a gym and classrooms and all sorts of things, and a theatre, cinema space and all that stuff in there. That's going to take a couple of years. And, the building has now been transferred over to community ownership. So it's like back in the hands of the community, and it's going to be back as a swimming pool. It's taken like 20 years, but it's an incredible story of just a community that wouldn't give up, that wouldn't let it go, and just kept fighting and got what they wanted.
That's amazing, man. Great film. I think I seen the premiere, or I don't know if it was the premiere, but it was one of the. I seen a.
The film's amazing. The film's just heartbreaking. It's Fran Higson, who for Camcorder Gorillas, who have like documented loads of the protest movements in Scotland over the last 20 years, stop the war movement and all that, and they made the documentary, and it's fantastic. We took it, Fran took it and showed it in other campaigns across, like other community campaigns and swimming pool campaigns across the country. Did Q&As for Belfast to Oxford. At Oxford, Peggy Seeger came along and sang at the screen launch and all that, screening and all that's great.
Would you up for anyone who doesn't know about your poetry, would you up for doing a poem just to show people what you're about?
Aye, I'll read a poem. That's what I do. Poetry.
Sorry to put you in the spot.
Excuse me, my chest. This smoking at work's crap. I'm going to read this one to start. I can read a few later. This is one I wrote. There's a lot. I'll read this. It's a sonnet, sort of. And if a sonnet is just counting lines, it's a sonnet. And I wrote this at a kind of similar time when people were feeling this kind of despair about politics and all that. It was just after there was a vote in Parliament on whether Britain should join in with the bombing in Syria, as if like America and Saudi Arabia and Turkey and everybody else was enough bombs. And there was a lot of poets talking about it on Facebook the next day, all full of despair. So I wrote this as a response to what I read that day. It's called Noises. We are but noises no one hears, the voices in the void, a silent chorus of despair. In unison, our feeble cries are ignored by emperors and kings, who carry on annoyed but largely unimpressed as another crumbling nation dies. And in its wake, a beacon burns, a leader comes, a new flag flies, and perfectly it's been foretold in all the ancient mysteries. Our story is framed, you see. Old ways are blamed, new hopes arise, and soon we'll have good cause to rewrite histories. Our protestations scream across a great and wide divide and shame. We have seen this film before, and its ancient bloodstained prequel. We stand on hilltops to proclaim that this is not done in my name, yet the trailers blaze. It's coming soon, the sequel with no equal. And in the rubble, seeds are laid, and echoes still remain of people who once wept and prayed, and will be there to tell us when we do it all again.
An American psychiatrist calls it audio therapy.
You call that video?
Brilliant stuff, Jim.
Miserable, wasn't it?
Alan Robertson says United we will swim again. I'm sure I had a poem that was called that as well.
You did a poem. You did a poem way back. There was a kind of political night of some sort at the Baths, and you had written a poem for the Baths about the situation.
That same day, written that same day, and
yeah, the worst thing ever. I wrote this in the way here,
and it was actually really good. If I remember rightly, I also got a wee bit. It's probably one of the only times I've ever had a help with a poem, and it was Leo. Shouts to Leo, who sometimes watches the show, because we were sitting having a beer, and I was just explaining. I think I was a wee bit nervous because it was just like leaving a kind of party environment, going to a political poetry night. So I was just a wee bit nervous with it. So we just started coming up with the drip, the flow, all of that kind of stuff. But yeah,
great, that was you. From what I remember, that was like a perfect audience for you that night. It was like right at the start of Tory austerity, in the middle of Tory austerity and all that. So you had them on their feet, stomping.
Yeah, I think it went well. I think it went well.
It was a good night.
Somebody wanted. I think it was.
There's a lot of poems about Govanhill Baths. Harry Giles was our Harry Josephine Giles was our artist in residence, and they wrote a book, Poems of Govanhill, which is a fantastic book, and it's they're just all written with their time there at Govanhill Baths. It's fantastic, and also we had a little fundraiser thing to raise money for the community share issue thing, and what we did was like the nationwide adverts, and I'm not going to dig it, Iona Lee. And we did like the nationwide adverts, but it was like kind of about Govanhill Baths, and there was like quite a few. Christy Williamson, Liam McCormick, Finola Scott, Victoria McNulty, quite a few. Jim Carruth wrote them.
That's a cracking lineup.
Holly McNish wrote a poem about Govanhill Baths because
wow.
Annie used to use the steamy and all that stuff. So yes, there's quite a compilation out there.
And there's also quite a lot of music videos that have used Govanhill Baths as well over the years.
There's been a few, aye. Every band has the idea of doing a video in an empty swimming pool, thinking nobody's ever done it before.
I've had that idea as well. I've had that idea. But I know that other people have come up with it before.
I've had Yam Yao and Amphetamines. Quite a few did videos in there.
It still looks cool though, because if you to your own niche audience, they won't have seen anyone doing it in an episode. It's very Hollywood. Shelto Mel says, "What's the name of that documentary again, please?"
United We Will Swim Again. You get it on
comment
rather than YouTube. If you go to Camcorder Gorillas on Vimeo, and it'll be in there among a whole load of other excellent films that Camcorder Gorillas have made.
It's a great film, and we'll have a film night. Once I'm just trying out some new things to get the better sound quality for the videos. As soon as I've figured that out, we'll definitely start doing film nights, because I think it's a good thing. We've got Martin Windybank's done loads of documentaries I'd like to watch and talk to people that were in the film. It'd be cool.
Yeah.
Alan says, being involved in the Govanhill Baths campaign was a brilliant experience and a part of my life I'm still immensely proud of.
Alan was a regular on the picket line, and if you look back at photographs and videos and all that at the time, you'll see Alan Rorison right up front.
Yeah, amazing. Because everything I've ever been involved in, you never win. You never fucking win. So it's good to see a victory.
Aye. Oh, yeah. Well, that's the thing. I think that is the thing. There's other great stories like it in Glasgow and elsewhere, working class people winning battles, but they're few and far between. We take a lot of kickings to get to the victory. So when it happens, it's special,
Serena Fontaine says, does the shop have a name yet?
It's Govanhill Food Pantry.
Govanhill Food Pantry, and apparently the levels are sorted now. That's great. What else we got? to do loving the new graphics, says Alan. Yeah, they're good, aren't they, Alan? Shouts to Malfunction. Mary says sounds fine. Hello, Jim. So great to see you. Says Alona.
Hi, Alona.
Oh, the Meanies. Says
The Meanies,
Sharon.
yeah, they made there's a great video in Govan Hill Baths. You should watch it with a giant rabbit on a skateboard.
Have you, they're a great band, absolutely brilliant. I seen them doing the Rabbit Hole a few years ago.
Yeah, great band, yeah.
Have you ever thought about, or have you ever wrote music yourself? Because obviously, as a prolific poet, you must have done a few songs. I'm aware of one or two.
I've got do you know, I've written wee kind of jokey songs now and again, and I did used to think of myself as a songwriter way back. It's a kind of common story. I know Jenny Lindsay was on last week or the week before. She was saying,
every Wednesday we have a poet. It's a new thing.
Yeah, and then quite a lot of poets. You can tell. So if you've been around a long time, you can tell when you see a young poet, you're thinking, yeah, that's the lyric for the song for the band that split up. And I don't really write songs. No. I do sing a couple of times in my poems, but they're bits of other people's songs. And I did write one for your Bards in Your Eyes thing.
Oh, aye.
Yeah, I wrote I was Loki and Becky Wallace, and I did a kind of rap verse with and I sung the chorus. I didn't sound very much like Becky Wallace, but I thought I kind of did the kind of thing they do together.
That's one we could maybe do on this show, because if you don't know, Bards in Their Eyes was, we just got poets to take the piss out of other poets or send them up, take the piss, impersonate. Maybe not take the piss, because obviously impersonation is the highest form of flattery, as they say. But some of it definitely seemed like piss takes. But there's some good ones. So I think we'll maybe bring that back. It's a very niche audience, so I've got to say, maybe we'll just do it privately to the spoken word group or something like that.
It was good fun, but I don't know if anybody wasn't part of the poetry scene that would have any idea what was going on, so it was quite... But
it might actually be quite funny that way, though. I mean, I don't know if you tuned into your Awe Vision show we did, and that was hilarious, and I had no idea what was going on. I didn't know who the people were or what they were trying to do. So maybe we'll just do it. I will just do it. So if anyone's watching and you want to dress up or imitate another poet out there, then now's the time. Stephen Magnus says, love the version of United Colours of Cumnock with San Fran. That was the one I was thinking about.
United Colours of Cumnock is my most famous poem, and it's an amazing thing. It's been absolutely brilliant to me, and I wrote it years ago, and probably easier than any other poem that I ever wrote. I'd been toying about with the idea for a wee while, and then one afternoon I wrote it, and for a while I actually thought, this was so easy to write and sounds so good that I was convinced I must have inadvertently stolen it for somewhere else, and then I gradually started doing it places, always down a storm. But Stephen's talking about there's a song version of it. So
yeah,
an old friend of mine, Francis Lopez, has a band called San Fran and the Ciscos, and we were at I don't know if you remember, there was a monthly poetry night at Sammy Dow's in the south side.
Yeah,
and we were there one night. We had a couple of pints down there at the open mic, and he got up and sang a song version of the poem with a chorus that he'd written and all that. It was fantastic. It's beautiful. And we do it together sometimes. We do sometimes do gigs together with some of his songs and some of my poems. And we have a version of it where he sings the bits I've written and I talk his chorus kind of thing. I think it works quite well. So it's been amazing for it. It's done so many things. It's taught in workshops in different places. I know poets in different parts of the world that have used it. It's been used in classes. It's been sociological magazines. It's been
wow.
And actually got the best thing that ever happened to United Colours of Cumnock, which the best thing can happen to an Ayrshire poet in the land of Burns, was the local minister came across it and was raging about it. It was in a book called My Favourite Place that went out free around libraries around Scotland, And it had a lot of kind of big writers in it, like Michael Palin and all that. And you'd write about your famous place in Scotland. So my one was about Cumnock, but it was a wee bit less positive than than the other ones. So the minister wrote to the local MSP, Adam Ingram, demanding, like, what you got to do about this poem? Which I thought was brilliant. Like, Adam didn't know what to do. Adam just said, would you want me to write a poem or something? But I thought that was a great compliment. If you're upsetting the clergy, that's that's good.
It's not. I mean, it's not that bad. It's a real reflection.
It's not offensive in any way. I mean, the fact that it mentions like methadone or heroin was a reality of Cumnock at that time, and the minister maybe didn't want people to talk about that and just talk about like fields and tatties and Rabbie Burns or something like that. But I don't think it wasn't meant to be offensive. I've heard other people say, because there's bits about sectarianism in, I've heard other people say it's a song about Orangemen or anything like that, but it isn't that either, you know, because it just that fits the town. So the Orangemen in it who would guard old Derry's walls instead of guarding you it's just, it is a blue town and it has got a lot of Orangemen. I
think that's why it's so powerful. I think it's the colours. Right. It's quite good to just sort of describe, and it's quite bold to describe towns and colours. And
if I'd been it would have been, I'd have been probably singing about the Republican guys. You know what I mean?
Do you know the poem off the top of your head for people that don't know it?
Do you what? Sorry.
Do you know the poem off the top of your head? Because there's people tuned in right now going, "What is this poem?"
Right. Okay. Right, I wasn't going to do that one tonight, but it always goes back to it. But I will do it because it is.
Just I'll give you a wee grab.
I'm not bothered about it. I've only read it 645,000 times. But then Elvis Costello still sings "Watching the Detectives." So
I'm going to play a wee.
Strange mood of our time.
You call that radio?
Makes coherent sense.
The United Cumnock. My town is a green town, but it's not like a fuck the Queen green town. It's a tree in every scene town, with gardens freshly dug. That's green that pours through every crack, through pavements and viaducts and football parks, where men who suffer heart attacks go walks with three-legged dogs. My town is a blue town. Who the fuck are you, town? What school did you go to, town, and are you one of us? That's blue that seeps through doors and walls, the pubs and bookies, village halls, where men would guard old Derry's walls instead of guarding us. My town was once a red town, another minor dead town, a men who fought and bled town with brave and stalwart wives. That's red that came from meeting rooms, for folk that worked at pumps and looms, when borough bands played different tunes and we marched for better lives. But now my town's a grey town, a 50 mils a day town, a watch life slip away town, a tunnel with no light. That's grey that weeps for dying eyes, bewildered parents, children's cries with skinny arms and stick-like thighs, and no strength left to fight.
I got you. Ready? Yeah, he's 1 2. 1 2 1 2. Yo, this is Charlie Tuna from Jurassic 5 live and direct here in Glasgow, Scotland, and you call that radio?
Upon you, we are here to tell the people that we hear you. One God will not allow us as people of conscience to lose our morale. We see the crimes of this government, how they support every dictator and criminal on this earth. Sometimes you can feel down. Sometimes you're
Brilliant stuff. We just heard The United Colours of Cumnock by Jim Monaghan. Man, have you got do you happen to have earphones at all?
I don't know. Am I too loud?
Right. No, it's all right. No, it's not. It's just that I'm hearing a little bit of delay, but it's fine. If it's not bothering you, then I can live with it. Wow, powerful poetry, says Serena.
Thank you.
Steve Magda says I've murdered it a few times and done.
I've seen a video of Stephen reading that poem at a open mic night in Perth or Dundee or something. Yeah.
We got
Magners. He organised a gigs up in Blairgowrie. Me and Lopez went up. It was a fantastic night. Cracking wee pub. the guy that owned the pub was right into poetry. Half the people in the pub weren't. They talked all the way through it, but the manager was, and he paid as well. It was a cracking wee night.
Amazing, man. How do you deal with people talking? It doesn't bother me at all when I'm in a band situation. It doesn't bother me even with an acoustic guitar and we're doing an acoustic version. Obviously, it's better when you're in a full loud band with drums because it doesn't matter if people talk. But I find it can be quite off-putting when I'm doing spoken word because it puts me off. It makes me lose my my pacing. I just go too fast, and all the the pauses. I mean, that's what it is. Really, in my opinion, as someone who doesn't do, I'll go through phases of doing quite a lot of spoken word, then I won't do it for a year. And when I've done it quite a lot for about a month or two, it starts to come together really nicely. And it seems to be about going slowly, going fast at the right times, and then having that dramatic pause and letting it sit out there in the ether. Is that the trick, or is there more to it?
No, I think that's right, Mark. The delivery's the most important thing. And I think it's the main thing for any performance poet, and it's going to read their poetry live, is to get that right, is to rehearse it. And the best poets, the ones you'll go about, you'll see that impress you. They work really hard. They play with that. They work. They rehearse it. They record it. They listen back to it. They see where it's better to. And I'm lazy. I don't do poetry full time. But there's. I mean, you see, get people that you get on stage and think, oh, I just perform for 40 minutes without like any props or any paper or anything like that. And that's because the rehearse. Robin Cairns is like that, like total like professional in rehearsing, and a lot of other poets are the same. And it's really important to get a delivery. It's really important to feel comfortable on the stage. And you're right that if people talk through it, it means that wee gap, that wee silence that gives the thing effect isn't there. There's no silence, so it ruins your poem. You know?
Is that all in my head, or is it actually ruining the poem?
It probably isn't, but when you're a poet, quite often, you're standing up like a stand-up comedian or something. You're standing up there on a stage asking people to like listen to you, so they can judge you as well. So, and you're on stage, you're a wee bit vulnerable. So to you, it maybe is, and so if it feels like that way to you, it is, and you probably then rush through the other gaps and things like that.
That's it. That is it. But I wonder if I didn't rush it, because you do rush because you're losing track of people are putting you off, so you're losing track of time. So you speed up, and you see all the time with new poets that have got really good material, but they just go really fast at 100 miles an hour because they're just trying to get this horrible moment of their life over with.
Absolutely.
And just like, get it finished. And it's interesting because there's been times when I've done it in front of Mickey Nines. I remember doing a Mickey Nines gig at McCool's, and it was Saturday night, and I think I was supposed to be on about 7:30, but the way it worked out, I was on at 10 o'clock just before Mickey Nines came on, and that was just a drunken Glasgow crowd wanting the Mickey Nines. They didn't want to hear my independence referendum poetry, I think it was at the time. But I suppose you get people like John Cooper Clarke, who he made a career out of it, and he just rattled through it regardless of the audience.
I mean, John Cooper Clarke, Tiller a Stockbroker, Linton Kwesi Johnson and all that stuff. Me being the age I am, like they were like my youth. There was like big name poets like playing with big bands and things like that, and like appearing at festivals and things. So it was quite a thing to do. It was quite a popular thing to do. And John Cooper Clarke was like, I think like everybody my age, John Cooper Clarke was the first person you really heard, if you were white anyway, probably, and the first person you kind of copied and all that. I have to say though, like this was not a popular opinion, but I'm not a fan of John Cooper Clarke, to be honest.
Wow, that is a 5. Giving John Cooper Clarke a 5.
I would give him a 5. I liked his early.
I've actually got a wee. Where is he? I've just made a wee new intro for the show tonight, because it actually was on after John Cooper Clarke, much to my dismay, because I thought I was going to go on just before him, but I went on after him. So you're playing to a pissed audience who don't really. They're there for John Cooper Clarke, because John Cooper Clarke's more famous than poetry in a lot of ways, if that makes sense.
Aye.
In a festival circuit anyway. So, but yeah, this is John Cooper Clarke. This is a part of our brief conversation.
Right. Dr. John Cooper Clarke, do you call that radio?
There you go.
Brilliant.
Unfortunately, I'm really gutted that I didn't hit the
Still
record
doctor
there,
now.
but he's a doctor now. Aye. Well, we
Yeah, well,
found out that.
he got one of those doctor things for doing something at uni, but I don't think you're meant to use it all the time.
Fuck it. I think if you're a doctor, use it.
I'm going to start calling
I-
myself Reverend or something.
Well, he did say, I'm gutted that I don't think the recorder picked up just before it, but I said, what's the podcast called? I went, it's You Call That Radio, and he went, it's an excellent name for a podcast, and I really wish I'd caught that. And he's also the only person that's ever complimented me on the name, because most people just go, it's called what? You call that what? And that's part of the fun as well, because people don't know what to call it. So it's fun. I was going to actually ask you about a new project you're doing with Bogdina. That sounds interesting.
Yeah. I'm doing a lot of kind of different stuff now in the lockdown and things. I'm always writing poetry. I'm always reading poetry. But I'm also writing trying a wee novel. It's kind of set in kind of music business ish in the 80s and all that. And but me and Baldina from Area of the Cursed are working on a piece that's about the grief cycle. So it's be poems and music working together on it. With a lockdown and Baldina's recently moved to Paisley, kind of slowed down. We're both a bit lazy as well, and it's and she used to live prior to that. She lived in Govan Hill just before the lockdown, so we would see each other once or twice a week anyway. So it's kind of slowing down, but the idea is it'll be probably about 5 or 6 pieces. Some spoken word, some like Baldina singing, and some of them like mixed the two of us. That will cover the relate to the grief cycle. It's something that's affected both of us throughout our lives, and we were talking a lot about it. So it's good. It's a great person to work with. Great person to have pints with as well. One of the best persons to have pints with.
Well, I absolute legend. She's played a couple of gigs with us before. And
amazing live. She's quite striking live.
Yeah, well, actually, do you know what? Actually,
the sound that she builds up around about her and all that, you know.
Ties in actually quite good with what we were talking about earlier on about a rowdy crowd. I think, if I remember right, it was a Friction Burns night we did at Siempre, and it was that time of the night where it's a very that crowd is a quiet and attentive crowd that will give everyone a listen. But as soon as the free whiskies start getting flung out, it does kind of get a wee bit rowdier, which is why we normally have the bands at the end. I can't remember for whatever reason. Maybe it was just because she was the headline act, but she was on at the very end, and it was very rowdy. And then she just sung and just shut everyone. Everyone just shut up. You could have heard the pin drop. Let's play a tune. Have you got a tune in mind? Is it Dala?
Yeah. That one. She doesn't play this very often anymore, but it's a fantastic song, and I think it's quite relevant for the times. And it's quite a good example of, if you don't know Area of the Cursed, it's quite a good example.
Right.
Today, your information
Dr.
is
John
more
Cooper
exposed
Clark,
than
do you
ever.
call that radio?
Brothers and sisters, may the peace that can only come from the one God be upon you. We are here to tell the people that we hear you. One God will not allow us and people of conscience to lose our morale. We see the crimes of this government, how they support every dictator and criminal on this earth. Sometimes you can feel down. Sometimes your morale can go down. Don't tell the people, I will not let your morale go down. You have to go. But you're staying on the wrong side of history. People have gone out to the streets. The show is over. Stretch back. Stretch back. Stretch back. Stretch back. Stretch back. Oh, that radio!
Strange mood of our time.
You call that radio?
Makes coherent sense.
That was absolutely brilliant. It was Area of the Cursed we just watched there. We're live tonight with Jim Monaghan. And that such a good tune, man. I remember I've seen that live before. Wow, I've actually seen that version of it. I didn't know that version existed on YouTube. So
She's a really powerful performer, and the way she uses her, whatever it is they use, the effects and the repeats things and all that's amazing. She builds like a wall of sound round about her. She's great to see. If you get a chance to see her live after the lockdown. In fact, we're doing a gig together. We're doing a gig. We're recording a gig at the Blue Arrow, social distancing recording. They're going to be recording a jazz festival there. So we've kind of nipped in and kind of grabbed it for a wee bit, and I'm going to be doing a gig there, a kind of Jim Monaghan and Friends thing, which will be broadcast, I think, live, and I think it's 22nd June around about then. But I'll make sure everybody knows about it.
Wow, so you're getting to film it in the venue.
Yeah. It's the guy approached me about, and they do the jazz festival in there, so they've set up this year. The jazz festival is going to go ahead, so they're going to do live broadcasts from the Blue Arrow, but with obviously no audience in and things like that. So before they start all that and do their thing, we're going to nip in and use the equipment. And it's myself and Bildina and a couple of others are going to be a wee kind of it's me, it's Mike, it's Jim Monaghan and Friends, it's called. You know.
Give a gig then.
I don't want to push the rest of them. I'm the main attraction.
Yeah, give a gig. Give a gig, Jim.
I've kind of handpicked. I knew this would happen. I shouldn't have said anything. I've kind of
shouldn't you, man? You shouldn't. Your inbox is going to be full. Everybody will want to be your friend.
The more the merrier. But I've kind of thought of a couple of kind of music acts and a poet and things. So I think I've got the lineup. I don't know. It's a hard thing to do that. Put a gig together. I've done loads of things where I did the wee Corbin cabaret nights and all that. For the many cabarets and various other things. And you get a kind of wee group of people that you book regularly. But then you want to mix it up and bring other people in. It always feels a bit awkward when you do gigs and don't ask anybody. And sometimes I'll get asked by like trade unions or something like that to put on a wee thing. And you just got to think about who's the audience, what's the balance between what you're doing and what others are doing and things like that kind of stuff. So it's but that one will be good. And I've done it. Bildina's played a couple of those cabaret things, and so we've done gigs together before, so look forward to that. And I'll announce the other guests as soon as they confirm the dates, if possible.
What have you started, Jim? You've got Shelto Melson. Let me know if you want a dancer.
High kicks. Aye, definitely.
Francis says, go, Jim.
Hi, Francis. How you doing?
Serena says, get Air of the Cust on the show sometime. Oh, she's obviously spelled it wrong at the first part. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be great to get Bildina on the show. Definitely. That needs to happen. I'll ask her.
Yeah, she's a great chat as well. Yeah, she'll be a great guest. Yeah,
Mary Phillips, what an amazing voice, emotional song, brilliant, superb. What a voice, absolutely beautiful. Wow, this is incredible. Air of the Cust is so talented. Air of the Cust is an incredible artist. I'm a massive fan. And Mary Phillips has just tuned in. And going back to your poem as well. Very true, loved it. Always a great poem. Well done, Jim. Wow, powerful poetry. White finger, black lung.
That was it. Used to have a subtitle, White finger, black lung. White finger was a thing that miners got. Black lung is called, I can't remember what it's really called. Like just what happens when you work underground in coal dust. And white finger was like a kind of vibration thing. And it's White finger's more famous for in recent years after the pit shut. Everybody, all the older miners got their white finger money, compensation money. So everybody got a wee turn for their da, like in the 90s when the white finger money came in.
And nowadays, I actually know people that are suffering from white finger in the roofing trade, but I think they've signed contracts that you just don't get anything. I think they're clued up to that now.
Aye, probably are. Aye, but mining at the time was a nationalised industry and had all the after many fights and many unions for many years, had good conditions by the end at least. So that's probably why they got it, and a good union fighting for them, which is very important.
Chat My Pants says, "Can we buy your poetry, Jim?"
Do you know what? There's that this little book here, Cumnock and Other Places, is available on it's at speculativebooks.net, but I don't think there's many left. But the good news is that we're re-releasing this as a. If people don't know speculative books, they publish Scottish poetry. They put a book out every month, and you can subscribe and get one and get a new book sent to you every month, or you can just buy each individual book. But I was the last one. Look, this isn't really a book; it's a wee pamphlet with staples. I was the last one that didn't have, as they got better at it, have a spine. So I'm the last spineless book on speculative. But we're going to re-release this book in the summer with some extra poems in it and a proper spine and all that stuff. So it might be worth waiting. Buy it if you want right now, but I think it's $6.99, or wait for the new one that's coming out soon.
Some sales pitch that it's out. You can buy it, but I wouldn't buy it if I were you. I'd wait.
No, buy it. Buy it.
Well, we've actually got Sam Small
Get
on
one
the
of the
show.
original ones. That can become dead rare, the original one, if I die of the coronavirus.
There you go. It's speculativebooks.net. And I think that it's a brilliant idea. In order to survive these strange times, I think that the strange times before all this new strange shit, it was a strange time for publishers. And, I thought it was an amazing way that they did the whole, you sign up, you pay monthly, and you get a new book every month. And they're supporting so many good artists, and they're picking wisely as well. They're all, I tend to know most of the people that they're picking in their class. All of them are brilliant. So go to speculativebooks.net, and we'll actually speak to one of the main men involved in it, Sam Small, who's also the world slam champion. He'll be here on Wednesday. Shut up, Jim. He's the world slam champion. And he is still the world slam champion. Still to this day. No, they actually.
Are you not doing a book on speculative?
No, there is. That's not been confirmed.
Right.
But maybe is that exclusive? Jim's just fucking outed it. Exclusive. No, I don't know. I've been in talks with them, but then we're really close to agreeing something, but then everything, the world changed. And I got distracted, and I think they did too. But hopefully, it'll still happen, because I've never had a pamphlet or a book out ever. I think I made a couple of lyric books for Jackal Trades once or twice. But I think what I was going to do is maybe a Gyro Babies lyric book on speculative books. We're just putting the best lyrics. So I think that is the rough plan. But it's not been announced yet, so we really shouldn't have announced that, Jim. But cheers, pal.
The good thing with having a pamphlet is it's a cheap bit of merchandise, and you can sell at gigs as well. And it means that, as you know, like when you're involved in poetry, not that many gigs pay very well. So if you do a gig and it's got a decent crowd at it, you can maybe pick yourself up an extra 30 quid, which pays your train fare and a few pints and things,
Well, that is the thing, and it's also light to carry. So having a few light pamphlets around is probably better than carrying about a bunch of CDs or carrying some vinyl or a bag of T-shirts. So I have seen that the kind of crowds that go to spoken word gigs tend to be, a lot of them are writers and readers. So I'd imagine that they would throw in a fiver to the kitty to support an artist.
I think the people that buy my book tend to be the people that I get a lot of gigs sometimes in places that maybe a lot of poets will not get to, like working men's clubs and miners' clubs and things like that. And I think it's a lot of the time that's people that go thinking, oh, what's this, a poet? And then they expect live poetry to be like that. And they tend to be the ones that come up and go, oh, here's a copy of your book. Whereas the poetry crowd kind of know it all. They know most of my poems, because I'm not that prolific, really. And they're more interested in buying their own book, doing their own thing, poets. I don't buy anybody's book.
I bought a few. I do.
That's a lie. I do. I buy lots of them, actually.
All right, sorry, man. I thought you were just like, fuck them. Fuck them. Fuck the poets.
I don't feel obliged to, but there's a lot of good poets in Scotland, and I like to buy the books, because I like to read poetry. I've got a pile of books next to me here that through the lockdown.
So obviously you've became a bit of a celebrity on here by your your response to judging other poets. What is the real Jim Monaghan? What does the real Jim Monaghan think about the good and the bad of the current poetry scene?
I came back into like kind of Scottish poetry, started kind of doing it again, probably about, I don't know, 15 years ago or 20 years ago or something like that. And there's been a phenomenal change. Like, it has changed. I'm not sure it's just Scotland. I think it's everywhere. Where, you know, following on for rap and you had all these sort of Def Jam poets, followed on for like an American slam thing. There's been a massive uptake amongst younger people. And the more people do something, the more people hear about it and the more people come in. So there's a lot of poetry going on in Scotland in the last few years. And there has been times where there's been an incredible amount of really good stuff coming out of like Scottish poetry scene. But it goes into, and like anything else, it peaks, dips and things like that. But there's a problem. There is a problem with lots of poetry right now that I wonder. I don't know how we deal with it, but I think it is problematic, and it is that poets tend to, and I'm not singling end out here because it applies talk about all of the fuckers, because it applies to me as well. So poets do some very personal things and have some deeply held opinion sometimes that they express or tell you an experience that it's very difficult not to feel sympathy or empathy with. So it doesn't leave as much room for critique. It doesn't leave as much room for constructive criticism. Because if somebody just stands in front of you and tells you this really harrowing personal experience, if you hear that and you think, do you know what, that could be a much better poem if they just did this or they just did that. And where in the old days, we would talk about songs and poetry and things and say, do I think you'd be better dropping that bit or adding that bit, or, you know, and it wouldn't be a bad thing. I think right now it's very difficult because the majority of it's all very, very personal. And if somebody just told me about how they just built a schoolhouse in Malawi, I can't say, well, do you know what? I think you should. You've got to say, "Oh, that was really brave. Thank you." You know, and I think that's problematic. There's no Scottish poetry right now.
So, if you do a poem about, say, a breakup, like a bad breakup or a bad bereavement, or something like coming out, or something about something that you think that you can't talk about it. You can't say that poem was shit, or you could do better with that.
And I don't think there's any place for us. There's no place right now where we review poetry or critique it. Nowhere. We don't do it anymore. I mean, there's a few magazines that will review like poetry, like collections by famous people, but there's nothing. We don't review each other, and I think that's problematic. And there's no writers groups or clubs that I know of that do anything other than go and read to each other and tell each other how good it is. And I mean, that's good in a way, but there needs to be a space where poets talk to each other and say, do you know what,
that's pish.
Aye.
That's pish club. Maybe we need that. That's pish club.
Aye.
But I suppose, well, do you know,
I've got a few people I can send, my friend Donna and Hannah and others people. I've got a few people I can send stuff to that I trust and things like that. But the poets should be doing it between ourselves, I think, a lot more.
Do you know, it is a wee bit similarities in the music scene as well, because it seems to be right now, if you get reviewed, then that means the person likes you like your band, and you're going to get a good review.
Aye.
And if they don't like you, they don't review it. And I can relate to that because I remember when I started reviewing music years ago, before I was even in a band, I thought I would go and be one of these funny guys that would be honest and criticise things. Like, you know, just like I grew up when NME was still a thing, and I thought it was hilarious when somebody just, you know, assaulted someone basically with a written critique. And I thought I'd be one of those guys, but the reality is that if I don't like something, I just move on now, and that's it. I don't need to. Who am I to bring something down? Is my thinking. But also, I see your point, and now what we've got is a situation whereby you don't get reviewed unless it's someone saying that they love it, or unless it's a troll saying that you're shit for no reason and not giving you any constructive critique. There's no point in just saying shit. Why is it shit?
Yeah, I think I have to work out a way of if every time anybody reviews poetry, we're all reviewing each other's friends. It's very difficult. I think we have to work out a way of doing it. I'm not getting the answer. I'm not doing it.
SoundCloud was good for a while. I remember we used to upload demos to SoundCloud, and there was different producers who would maybe mention stuff that, they would say, oh, you need more vocals, take that fucking that effect off and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I found that quite good because it felt like real critique we were getting.
But it's also if you're in music, quite often you're in a band, and the band themselves, even if they're writing songs together or individually and all that stuff, they have those conversations, and you get to a better song because there's 3 or 2 or 5 of you involved. Whereas when you're writing a poem, you're writing it on your own, and sometimes you need people who are saying that bit there's weak.
So, and you think that you would be up for telling someone that, but you wouldn't want to do it if it was a serious poem about something important that's happened in their life? Because
I'd be happy to tell them that if we were in a private conversation. But I do think that we have a situation sometimes where you go to a poetry night and virtually everything is something that's just a very, very personal thing. And all you can say is that was amazing, and because it is amazing. It is amazing that people can put those things into words and stand up and say it. So I can't critique that. It depends whether people...
It's brave. I don't know if it's amazing. If you're just doing it for the fact, it's brave that you're doing it, but I agree that there is something else where someone's talking about a personal experience and not actually putting the work in, which I find really hard to do because there's loads of stuff that I'd like to talk about, but I've written, but I know it's not good enough. You're like, no, if I'm going to talk about that, I need to get this right. I take a big, important part of my life and just say it and it's pish. That'd be... maybe I'm too extreme the other way, where I end up every time I try and write some sort of personal, serious, darker stuff for my spoken word, I always just shite it and do funny stuff because the people before me are putting me in a bad mood. Or not a bad mood, that's the wrong way to look at it, but just I feel like this audience needs someone to break the ice a bit, and we need to change the mode because, man, sometimes these nights go on for like 3 or 4 hours and it's just war, death.
Aye.
It's a lot. So sometimes I think it's good to just go on and just be a comedian.
Well, I mean, the good thing about performance poetry is there are a lot of funny poets, and that actually is sometimes the people that get the most of an audience, and for good reason. People like to be entertained and all that. And it's good to try and be funny. It's good to try and not be too serious about yourself. But I think there's a lot of young spoken word artists who maybe aren't poets or maybe don't want to be poets, and so maybe they don't want that kind of advice. Whereas loads of people have called me different things all the time. I've been called like spoken word artist, performance poet, slam poet and all that. And I just think I'm a poet. There's just different ways of doing it. There's different ways of doing poetry.
Well, I think it's good. I'm too scared to try and do stand-up comedy, but I like doing stand-up comedy when people are expecting poetry.
I do. I'm a kind of sidekick in a comedy team called the Greater Shawlands Republic. I don't know if you know them. It's Bruce Martin's.
I do, man. I've yet to actually go to a live show, but I've seen the Facebook and the Twitter have always made me laugh, and I've watched a couple of the videos on YouTube.
It's good. It's an independence movement for the south side of Glasgow, and it's just a kind of spoof of Scottish politics. Bruce Martin's brilliant, and I used to be involved. It was him and Andy Learmonth did it, and I did. I would be the house poet kind of thing, and then Andy's got a job where he can't really do that kind of stuff anymore. So I'm up there as this rubbish sidekick. It's really difficult to stand up, especially with somebody who's really, really funny. But that kind of carries you a wee bit as well. I've got lines to do, and basically I've just got to stand there and be the stupid one. And but it's good. It's good fun. The Greater Shawlands Republic.
Have you got a poem about your music industry stuff? Because I've not really heard much about your music industry stuff. I just hear a fleeting story every now and again.
You reminded me of someone there actually, because there was, I can't name the band or the guy, right? But there was a guy who was an A&R guy with a label in London who, when one of the bands I knew, and I had got a terrible review in, I think it was Melody Maker, and this guy played five-a-side with the guy that gave him the bad review, and he ended up like punching him in the changing rooms or something like that, over this bad review of one of his bands, so that actually does happen. People get raging about it.
Well, I gave someone quite a bad review once. It wasn't bad. It was just, it wasn't a 5-star. Let's put it that way. And then you meet that person again, and you're like, why did I do that? I could just avoid it. I don't need to review it. But also, I think I was a wee bit more critical back in the day. I'm a lot less. I try and see positives in everything now, which I learned from having to book a venue. Made me less precious about genres and stuff, and going, okay, I don't like this, but that doesn't mean it's bad. People will like this. My main question now is can they do it live? I think that's good to say. Is this a real live artist? I think that's important for me. But I'm not as strict with my rules before. I don't think that it has to have good lyrics. I prefer good lyrics, but sometimes you can just have a tune that's not.
Some of my favourite songs have really Motown songs that really crap lyrics, but they fit the song. The lyrics just like an added. Sometimes the lyric song is just an added instrument. It's just noises that fit the music, So, and it doesn't really matter. Other times, if you're trying to say something serious with your lyrics and you push at it, then it's terrible. But if you're not trying to say something serious and it's just good fun and it sounds good, then it doesn't really matter about a lot of lyrics,
So what? You were the manager for? You were a music manager for how long?
I was like I lived in London for a few years, and I came back up, and there wasn't much going on locally, but I met a guy who became my best mate, Matt Gilroy, and he was in a band, and he was going to this indie gig, 3 local indie bands in Kilmarnock. This was about 86 or 87 or something, and I'd been away for a few years, and there was loads of people at it, and it was that kind of thing that happened in those towns in the late 80s, in old towns, where there was nowhere for all the others to go. All the punks and rockabillys and goths and all that kind of stuff. So they all went to the same place and watched whatever the local live bands and all that. So I asked around, and nobody was doing anything. So I just sort of hired the place and started putting on decent, sometimes touring bands, sometimes Scottish bands. Put on Primal Scream and the Shaman and the Proclaimers, and everybody was about at the time, and started this weekly club. And from that, got asked to be manager of some and things. And me and Mark, I was manager of his band, and me and him did the gigs together as well. And I think the Trash Can Sonatas were the support act one night. They asked me to be their manager, and I didn't really know what a manager was. And they were quite serious because they were getting record company interest and all that. But I kind of chanced into it, so I became their manager, as well as we run a recording studio called Shabby Road down in Kilmarnock, and I used to run the gigs. That was mainly 87, the gigs. So it was a great time to be running gigs. And I was lucky because I just kind of fell into it like a lot of things in my life. The thing was there in front of me, and I got asked to do it and done it. And so I spent a good few years working with the Trash Cans, and through that and through Go Discs, then you get to tour with other bands like The Laz and Prefab Sprout and all that kind of stuff. They Might Be Giants. It was fantastic. Got to see America, and great guys to work with. So for a wee while, it was brilliant. It probably about, 4 or 5 years of my life I did that. It was great.
That's amazing, man. Primal Scream. Yeah. Primal Scream.
I put Primal Scream on, and I think it was £150 or £2 to get in, and it was 80 people there on a Thursday night in Kilmarnock. Just before, same with the Shaman, I put them on just before they took ecstasy and got brilliant.
What is it? Was there a Shaman before ecstasy? I'm just trying to imagine that.
Yeah, the Shaman were kind of they sounded a bit like the Stranglers or the Doors or something like that.
Wow.
More than all that. It's a great album called Drop. One of the other bands was a manager of the Salt Cellar. They're a great band. One of the best bands I know that didn't get signed and all that at the time. They did a wee tour with the Shaman once. Just before they could move any mountain. I should check them out. They're quite good.
And what is it? Would you like to do a poem, or would you like to do play a tune from that era?
Oh, aye. Yes, I picked a tune earlier about that. I was see at the time there was a brilliant wee scene in Ayrshire at the time. It was just a good time to be around the late 80s, and there was a lot of good bands in Glasgow as well. There was a lot of good stuff happening, and we were kind of lucky to be around it. And it was a kind of wider circle of, so people know of the Trash Can Sinatras and Eddie Reader and people like that. They know about so in the Irvine kind of indie scene, there was like guys like John Niven and Andrew Hagen, who are now famous authors and all that stuff. But Andrew Hagen had been in this wee band. To me, if I think of that era in that late 80s in Ayrshire, I always think of these guys. I think that's a definitive record. It was a big favourite of John Peel, and it was like dead representative all the time. It still sounds fucking brilliant, which is now, I don't know how many years that, 33 years later. So, aye, The Big Gun, Heard About Love. They're a fantastic band.
All the creatures that we had, they are lying waste. And all the tears that I have cried finally lost their taste. Even though I know there's love for me somewhere, you've shown up for far too long for me to even care. Let's hear it for love, let's hear it, love, let's hear it for love. Love, let's hear it for love, let's hear it, love, let's hear it for love. And I've heard of idle sayers that love can be blind. Well, I've never heard of love to be this cruel or unkind. Let's hear it for love, let's hear it, love, let's hear it for love. Love, let's hear it for love, let's hear it, love, let's hear it for love. You cover up your feelings, you never did let them show. This time I'm leaving, and I think this time I'll go. Even though I know you've love for me somewhere, you've shown up for far too long for me to even care. Let's hear it for love, let's hear it, love, let's hear it for love. Love, let's hear it for love, let's hear it, love, let's hear it for love. And I've heard of idle sayers that love can be blind. Well, I've never heard of love to be this cruel or unkind. Let's hear it for love, let's hear it, love, let's hear it for love. Love, let's hear it, love, let's hear it, love, let's hear it for love.
You call that radio?
Call that radio.
Went back to the people who hated on me.
Right, and then I say the disinfectant that knocks it out in a minute. That's mad, isn't it?
Is this a Netflix thing?
It's actually a podcast.
What the fuck's a podcast?
You know, it's kind of like a radio show.
Oh, that! Radio!
Yeah. Yeah. Is it a podcast? No, this isn't a podcast. This is like a quarantine stream. We are bringing back the podcast, which is called You Call That Radio, Season 2. So we did about 20 episodes on Season 1. And then because of the lockdown, we just moved everything to a live stream, what you're watching now. And we've done most nights since lockdown began, over 60 shows since March the 23rd. So you can watch all the previous shows at these places. We've still got Jim Monaghan here. We're going to get him back on in a little second. But yeah, just to give a shout out to YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. And yeah, YouTube's pretty good. It's better than Facebook. But Twitch is actually winning right now when it comes to not cutting us off due to things we say or things we play. So get us on Twitch or YouTube. And if you want to support the show, then the show is powered by Patreons. Like that. Over at patreon.com/you call that radio. And yeah, season 2 of the actual podcast, which is available on Apple, Spotify, is coming very soon. I started working on that today. So yeah. Jim, can you... Oh, yeah, sorry, one final thing. Shouts to the new Patreons, which is Serena, Bob, Rosemary, Roberta, Kale, and Gordon. We're up to 147 Patreons. We're trying to get to 150 for the green screen. I know we got to 150, but we lost a few because it's a new month. These things happen. Jim, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good stuff. We've got...
It's a good record, haven't it?
It's an amazing tune, man. Lots of people enjoying it. Alan says... Excellent track, great wee tune, nice tune. John McMustard tune, that should have been a hit. First time hearing that. Yeah, it's got a kind of... Was that before Morrissey? Was that before the Smiths?
No, it's after the Smiths. So I think that record would be about 86, 87, something like that. So it's kind of C86 kind of era, but I think I think they were unlucky. That record particularly, I think John Peel played quite a lot, and they were the right band at the right time. I don't know. And as I say, one of them's a successful author now. They've been able to be in other bands and do other things, I'm sure. But they were a great... There was a lot of good bands around there for that time, and a lot of good bands around Glasgow. So there was that kind of era of... There was also the kind of Bells Hill thing happening, with like the BMX Bandits and like the Vaselines and all that stuff. So there was a lot of good stuff going on.
Stephen Magner says Shabby Road was braw.
Shabby Road used to be Sirocco Studios. We got a big fat publishing deal and bought over the studios that we used to hang out in. And there's quite a few Half Band Half Biscuit recorded there, and the Stretch Heads and that. We kind of just opened it up, and it was a bit shambolic, but it was great fun.
I was listening to Half Man Half Biscuit quite recently. When I was out in my cycle, it came on shuffle. One of my favourite tunes ever is A Friend with the PA, a friend of the man with the PA.
That's absolutely brilliant band. Amazing guys. They're really quite strange. The guys, we went to, the Trash Cans did a gig in Liverpool with them once, and after it, we're in one of the guys' houses, and his Christmas tree was up in July because we just thought, what's the point of taking it back down? You've got to put it back up again in December, so he just leaves it up, leaves his Christmas tree up all year. And they used to refuse to, refuse to play gigs on Friday nights because Tranmere Rovers played on a Friday night, so they wouldn't do any gigs on Friday nights. So that's a fipper. But
prolific band as well.
Oh, fantastic!
I've not got to grips with their back catalogue at all because there's just so much stuff out there. I think it's a new album every year, and then they take it on tour.
Aye. I can't remember when the first albums came out, but they were quite a kind of revelation because we're funny and witty and all that, and still a good band with great tunes. But I think that the first album was back in the DHSS. It's great, really good band. Yeah, they spent a week hanging about Kilmarnock and recording in Shabby Road.
Ian Smith says unsigned copies are rarer.
Oh, that's I know what he's up to. This is the joke in the South Side that my book is if like the rarest thing in the South Side is an unsigned Jim Monaghan book. That's the
Avanti. What have I missed? Ask Ian.
No much. Tell him no much.
We could do a wee.
Ian Wilson, the guy. Ian Wilson's the I don't know what you call him, the fifth trash can or something, the sixth trash can. I got Ian Wilson a job with the Trash Can Sonatas in an American tour in 1990, I think, and Ian's worked with him ever since. became their kind of their main guy. He's done everything for them, all different jobs. But we had him as a guitar roadie. He didn't even know what a guitar was, really. And but he's been the merch guy, the driver, the tour manager, everything.
And it's thinking about other Ayrshire bands. One that I've just heard about, but I don't know much about, is the Cider Spiders.
I don't know them. I've never heard them. No.
Nah.
Current?
Yeah. No, I mean it was about 10, 15 years ago when we started the band, and people were like, because at that point there really wasn't that much going on in the Ayrshire scene that I was aware of. And people were like, oh, you should do a gig with the Cider Spiders, that'd be amazing. But we think they've broken up. But I never really found out. I don't think I've met the Cider Spiders yet.
I've never even heard of them. Sound great.
Yeah, well, apparently they used to fight on stage a lot and stuff like that. So
Brilliant.
that their reputation goes before them. Well, I would love to hear them, but people will say, "Oh, you remind me of the Cider Spiders," but I've not heard them yet. Stephen Magner says Machine Gun Etiquette were a fine Ayrshire band.
Yeah, they were a great band. Aye. I can't remember. I think one of them was for Cumnock, but I can't remember his name. Kenny. Maybe somebody knows and can put that in the comments.
Richard Banana Man, how are you doing, Richard? Can you play Coloured Ribbons and Tarnished Brass by the Cundies? Brilliant poem of music since the Cundies last night. I don't know if you mean that we didn't have the Cundies on last night because we did the show will not be paused, but if that's the case, then there is actually good news for you. We've already done an interview with Gary and you can watch it on YouTube right now.
And that was Monday night.
That was Monday night.
Yeah.
It was last night's show with Abdominal got postponed to next week. So if you want to see that, then, or you might be referring to the fact that we didn't play any Cundies tunes during it because we had some sound issues. Let me know when we're playing videos, is it sounding okay to you guys? Because I think that might be fixed it. It's Chris
Gary Robertson and all you guys up there. There's a wee kind of like almost subculture of Scottish poetry in Dundee. Gary Robertson and Mark Thompson and guys like that. Mark Richardson, who's part of the slam, to me, he's part of that kind of tradition, and Milton Balgoni and all that. Fantastic kind of storytellers, brilliant kind of, what they always refer to as street poetry. It's kind of punk poetry and done in a proper Dundee voice. It's a great little kind of sub-genre of Scottish poetry. It's worth checking out. You know, he's great.
Gary, Mark, and I think Bam Poet as well. And I think it just works really well with the Dundonian accent as well. They've just flows well. We got Tam the Van says, did Jim mention stretch heads? I saw them support the Shaman. I think it was Rooftops. I remember their song Bros Are Pish.
Bros Are Pish. I don't remember much of their songs. They definitely recorded at Shabby Road, and I saw them live a couple of times. They were excellent. And I think I put them on. One of the things I did back then, I had this contract with Iron Brew, and I hired out the CCA. It was called the Third Eye Centre at the time, and I put on a week of Scottish indie bands, and it was brilliant. It was like they paid for everything, and paid all the bands and everything. I got to keep all the ticket money, and they gave me a consultancy fee. It was like the best job I ever had, and all I got to do was pick all the best bands, and I'm sure I put on the Stretch Heads. I think at one of the Iron Brew Week things. That was like BMX Bandits and holy other, I can't even remember who they all were.
Well, interesting. That's actually the next comment. Was Iron Brew Rock Week was 30 years ago this week.
Fuck's sake. Well, it was, sorry, I don't get you off Facebook, but well, 30 years ago, well, there you go, aye. 30 years ago. It was brilliant, aye. I got that through another Ayrshire band, Nya 40s.
Brilliant band.
Aye. How it happened was, there was a thing called the ICA Rock Week that happens every year. ICA is that kind of similar kind of arts centre in London in the Mall, and it was every year they would have a thing with the NME where they'd put on the best up and coming like indie bands and all that, and it was a prestigious thing. And Iron Brew sponsored it one year and thought they'd take it out to other cities, one in Manchester, one in Glasgow, and everything. And the London one had asked the Trash Cans to play. And I just played a wee bit. When they asked me, I just played a wee bit kind of hardball with them and said, I were only playing if the Feeties can get the support slot. And then, and so they gave the Feeties support slot. And when they asked the guy at the ICA, right, do you know anybody in Glasgow that could do the Iron Brew thing. They said, "Oh, I know this guy. He'll be good at it." He didn't know me at all. And so they phoned me up, saying, "Can you do that?" And I was saying, "Well, what is it of today and what you paying me?" And they told me what they're paying me, just stupid money to put together like 6 nights of the best of kind of young Scottish indie band. So it was a doddle, you know, it was great. It was a fantastic thing. I don't know if there's much, I don't think there's anything left. I think some people have got a couple of ticket stubs somewhere or something like that, but it was a fantastic week. I can't even remember everybody who was on, but it was all the bands of that time, you know.
And with regards to, right, we've done music, we've done poetry, we've done a bit of community, but we've not yet spoke about your life in politics. Are you keeping that for the autobiography or what?
Aye, politics. I've always been. I mean, it's an integral part of my poetry and all that, politics, and I've always been political. But I've never. I think that there's. Although I've been in political parties in more recent years, it's not my natural kind of thing. What I do with my work in communities and things like that is much more my politics. It's about trying to empower people, try to help people like find a voice and all that kind of stuff. Try to help communities organise themselves and all that stuff. And then I do that kind of naturally. But in recent years, I've ended up probably now for about nearly 20 years being involved in like 2 or 3 different political parties as a kind of way of trying to agitate for change and all that kind of stuff. So I'm seen as very, very party political, but I'm kind of instinctively not, because I do believe that the best politics gets done in communities, you know. So there's great examples like the Live and Rent campaign and things like that, and their equivalent down in England, I can't remember what it's called, and they're fantastic at just getting into communities, helping people understand what their fight is, where their fight is, and help them get organised. And when communities are organised, like you saw in Govanhill with Govanhill Vaths, when you're organised, you're strong, and it's so I like to be involved in that kind of thing. The party stuff, I ended up working for the Labour Party twice, and also during like sort of Corbyn's time, me and a few others were taken on as community organisers, and it was great, and it was a real privilege to do it, and especially at that time with that manifesto. But it's difficult for me because I do like to do a bit of ranting about politics and all that. And as soon as you're working for a political party, well, obviously you can't.
Well, that's why I don't like political parties, man. I've never felt any loyalty to one, because you know, I find a lot of people tend to they jump on someone from a different political party that does exactly the same thing that they would defend their own guy for.
Absolutely,
and I find, and it feels really petty to me at times.
Aye, and I think over on Twitter, it's like the politics in Twitter's hellish. It's absolutely terrible. It's full of people doing exactly as you say. They go and look for one wee example and try and pretend that they think that's the norm, and then attack everybody else because they found one person being racist, or one person breaking COVID guidelines or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if somebody does it, then and it's your guy, you're like, well, let's wait until all the facts are out. There's an investigation. Let's wait till the investigation's done. If it's the enemy, it's like pitchforks out. Let's get them. But obviously, fair play, whatever. I mean, what was it? What do you think was the main problem with what went wrong with Corbyn?
Oh, do you know what? I think people forget, right, that what went wrong with Corbyn is what happens to the Labour Party quite a lot. And the Labour Party in general, and like forget that we don't win that many elections. We haven't won that many elections. And quite often we come close and we rip it all up and start again and all that stuff. And I think that's a problem. That what went right with Corbyn, I'd rather talk about, is like 500,000 members. And I saw communities that were absolutely like working alongside the Labour Party to get the fight that they wanted. And I saw people that were pro-independence and really active in the pro-independence movement out canvassing for Labour. There was a belief that you could probably possibly win an election. And if you win an election on a manifesto that actually changed something, it was really exciting. And they came very close. They had 40% of the vote in 2017, which is like in any other election it would win you. It won Tony Blair like Tony Blair won elections with less than that. So did Thatcher, and do you know? And it was the highest vote Labour had had since like Tony Blair's second election or something. So there wasn't much went wrong. And even in the disastrous election there, where they lost loads of seats, they still got like a third of the vote. So they're not like exactly wiped out or anything. I think they have to. I think they always compromise Labour, because that's what it is. It's a broad coalition of people. They always say feel like Marxists to Methodists, and it's like and so you've got to compromise. But I think what they've got to remember, what they can't forget about what's good about what's happened in the last few years, is they've got to make sure they're active in communities, not just like telling communities that you support them, actually get active in communities, and they've got to do a lot of what Corbyn did well. As to what went wrong, who knows? Like, who knows what decision you can make? Every decision you make when you're involved in politics, there
was a lot of snakes just backstabbing him at every go.
There's a lot of that went on. There's a lot of stuff, and to be honest, that probably happens in every party every time, no matter who the leader is. But there's been studies done. I mean, the amount of like wrong reports about Corbyn and what he said is like it's off the scale. It's like more than any other, like all the other leaders put together, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
I think people did have. There's some people with legitimate criticisms of him, but at the end of the day, right now we're in crisis. Who would you rather? You know, imagine how different. Well, I don't know how different it would be. You can't really say for sure, but I would rather have Corbyn and Sanders dealing with this than Trump and Boris.
It's only just see if David Cameron had went the full 5-year term the way he was meant to. We would just be, this would be the end of the David Cameron government right now. And he went into that election with it. I don't know if you remember, it was like was it the 2015 to 20? It was like chaos with Ed Miliband, or strong and stable with David Cameron. And look at it, the last 5 years, just utter chaos. And the idea is that if you're elected Ed Miliband or Jeremy Corbyn, that's a terrible thing. We can't even.
Well, Ed Miliband ate a bacon sandwich. Ate a bacon sandwich wrong.
Do you know what? There's a thing. There's a Jewish guy getting ridiculed for eating a fucking bacon sandwich, and then people pretend that anti-Semitism like just started like 3 years ago. You know what I mean? And that's problematic. There was loads of problems in the left with anti-Semitism, and there was loads of it, like people that were attracted to the Labour Party under Corbyn. And there's no denying it was a problem that to deal with. But that was never a way. Tony Blair made posters of Michael Howard, I think it was, like dressed like Shylock out in the Merchant of Venice. And again, another Jewish guy with an anti-Semitic trope. And they put these posters out as election campaigns. So there's a lot of slights on Corbyn that, there's quotes of Keir Hardie like 100 years ago saying anti-Semitic things. There's a problem in the left with anti-Semitism, rather than a problem with Jeremy Corbyn and anti-Semitism.
It was always quite interesting to see, though, that the Tories are all caring about racism all of a sudden.
Yeah, aye, there was. Well, that was the problem. And it was the same in America with Sanders and all that stuff. And there's a real problem because history repeats itself. And in the 1930s, that's what they did in Europe. They persuaded people that the socialists and the communists were the terrible guys. That they're the guys that will lock you up in camps. They're the guys that will do this. They're the guys that will take away all your freedoms and all that stuff. And what we got was, like, to lock up all the people that were speaking out because they were enemies of the people. What we got was Hitler and Mussolini and all that stuff, you know. And they persuaded people then that they were the racists. They were the ones to be scared of. And there's a real worry about that they do this. Because it wasn't just happened to Corbyn, it happened to Sanders. And I have to say, I do want to say that there was loads of stuff. Loads of people that came into the Labour Party under Corbyn who came from like other left groups who had real problematic and anti-Semitic ideas and said anti-Semitic stuff. And I think that there was a whole load of people who supported Corbyn who were generally on the left who weren't in the Labour Party who were doing that as well. And a lot of that get tagged on to being, it's a Corbyn supporter. This is what's happening and all that stuff. So it was a concerted effort to like highlight it, but it wasn't like made up. It wasn't made up. It was there. I saw it all the time. I'm forever seeing so-called socialists talking about Rothschild bankers and all that stuff. You know what I mean? And it's dangerous stuff. So there was a dilemma. Do you know? You have to deal with it, but you're getting slated every day for something that you didn't create. You know.
The new one is that Donald Trump is apparently sent from God to save us from Antifa.
I heard that woman saying Antifa rather than Antifa.
Antifa. It's the new way.
It's the new American way. I don't know if you saw her. She's a Virginia or something like that. She's standing outside her door. She's standing for governor with a big gun saying, bring the anti-fascists down here. I thought, that's fucking amazing. 75 years.
Did you see that?
On the other side now.
Did you see the thing that last night before, where Trump was giving a speech and there was all these tear gas going off and he moved everyone away so that he could pose for a photo with the Bible?
Oh, aye. It's unreal. It's unbelievable. Bruce Morton made a wee short film, like the bit where he's posing with the Bible, but he's taking all the sound out of it, so you just see him doing it in silence without any words. And it's quite weird. It's weird. Trump doesn't know how to stand right or walk right or anything. He's an awkward-looking guy. Now, he kind of looks like a guy that, like, you know, at a wedding and you were forced to wear your big brother's suit or something like that. You know, you're just not quite comfortable. And standing there holding up the Bible and pointing to it and all that and thinking that looked like a good thing. The woman who's the head of the Episcopal Church in Washington, and that's one of her churches there, I think it's a bishop they call him, she was going mental. She was attacking him. How dare he use my church for that kind of stuff? He's not even, I don't know if you've ever seen the clip where he gets asked about what his favourite part of the Bible is and he can't answer. He's never read it.
All of it. He loves all of it.
All of it, yeah.
Well, I mean, it seems like no matter what happens, there is people. I mean, the things that I've been getting involved with, the kind of debates I've been getting on the internet, and it's people are, no matter what happens in the world, there will be a counter story that this is all to make Trump look bad. And I kind of get why people in America maybe believe that, but it seems really surreal to me that there is people all over Scotland now just saying that this is a distraction. The COVID virus was a fake virus to make Trump look bad. Now they're saying that because the virus didn't do enough damage, they need to have the Soros is paying protesters to stand around and cause the riots.
Yeah. As I say, people look for, in times like this, people will look for. I understand conspiracy theories and all that. Fascinate me. I quite enjoy them as well. I don't believe any of them. I mean, I'm one of the guys that doesn't believe any of them. I think the Harvey Oswald shot Kennedy. It's pretty obvious. It's a guy with a gun and he was there and he hates Kennedy. And anyway, and so, and he's nuts. And so I think most of them are crap, but I enjoy reading about them and all that stuff. But I understand how people get to that. Do you know how they arrive at that? Because it arrives at a mistrust in the authorities and all that stuff. And
this is the thing, though. I believe many conspiracy theories. I'm right up for them as well. But what is really weird about this one is that Donald Trump is the authority here. And on one hand, they're saying he's going to fix it because he's such a great man. He's going to save the day. But he's also a plucky underdog who's up against it.
Yeah, I mean that's to me that's a feature of world politics now. These men, and they are men who are in big powerful positions who got there through populism and they're seen as portraying themselves as man of the people. That's kind of, I'll just tell it like it is kind of, and they're like over here, like, what do you call him? UKIP won the
Nigel Farage,
Nigel Farage, one of the people. He's called Nigel. He's an investment banker. He's not one of the people. He's a Nigel. You know what I mean? So I don't know how they get away with it, but they do it. You know what I mean?
Have you seen the Brexit? Channel 4 made a film called Brexit.
Right.
And I think it's on Netflix, I think. It's the guy who plays Michael Gove deserves an Oscar. You just knew it was Michael Gove before he opened his mouth. And then you've got, so yeah, with the idea that Boris, I mean, Boris is, he got the man of the people thing because he tells it how it is.
He's a clown, and people seem to like that. And we've got Boris, we've got Trump, Bolsonaro in Brazil, you get Modi in India, Erdogan in Turkey.
So tell it how it is. Is that new language for? Because obviously they're not telling it how it is at all because they're constantly lying it all the time. They're constantly caught.
They're telling you something comfortable. They're telling you that there's some evil enemy that if we just stamp out that evil enemy, everything will be all right, and your life's going to be great, and it's going to be great because we've all got pride in each other together, rally around the flag and all that. It's comfortable things that like politicians have always, or kings and people have always told people, and bishops and all that stuff. But right now, the scary thing is all those men are quoted there, are running the world, and they're making big decisions and horrible decisions, and they're all nationalists, they're all misogynists, and it looks like others can win elections and take over countries and their mold, and people are buying it, but hopefully they won't buy it too long, because eventually maybe they'll get caught out. But it's worrying that the more Trump gets more mental and starts talking about shooting peaceful protesters and things, it doesn't seem to affect his popularity enough anyway. It affects it, but I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
Americans think he's doing a great job.
Well, I think that because of the QAnon, they've realised that the conspiracy theory market out there is people who don't trust mainstream media. It means you can say literally anything you want, anything at all, and it's came from a source and it's fed out to the internet. And it's usually quite vague, so you can make up your own thing. So it's like right now, there was not one person on this world who was predicting a race riot would happen. But now it's kind of like, oh yeah, that just as we said, we told you this would happen. It's all part of the plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think it's the internet, easier stuff in the internet was meant to democratize the media, and I don't know if it has, because you have to be pretty good and pretty powerful and on it all the time to be able to take that to make it any good for working class people. And so I think what happens is it just means that the rich media organisations can dominate even more. But the alternative news sources are sometimes terrible. They'll know better.
Well, the thing is, they can dominate the alternative news services where you're actually creating alternative news stories that actually don't need to worry about getting sued or slander or fact check. It's a whole new level of what you can say. And the main thing that I'm noticing is just the all-round disinformation, to the point that nobody knows what's going on there, and I'll include myself in that. I'm actually like, what the fuck is happening, man? But I think I'm just trying to make peace with that rather than going rants that I take back, and then just because I don't know what's going on, man, if I'm being honest.
I think you always have to just try and listen and try and learn every time, and try and ask yourself questions, and never really accept anything as a fact until you're absolutely convinced it's a fact. And even things that seem obvious, because sometimes that's the best conspiracies and lies are the ones that just make sense. Or that explains that, and I don't have any other explanation for it. So then on in, you go in that way. But in social media, we've got this real is about like dissent from. So if somebody says something that you don't agree with, there is no way to change their mind, because people pile on and tell them that they're an absolute bastard, and then their reaction is like, well, I'm not going to listen to these people that have just called me an absolute bastard. That's not going to persuade anybody. So there is a kind of, people are getting entrenched into positions, I think. And I think social media is helping that along, and the media in general,
Yeah, it's strange times indeed. I mean, what do you make of the fact that I think one of the protests has been cancelled, but obviously Black Lives Matter protest in the middle, in the UK, in the middle of the pandemic. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I can. If black people get killed in this country by the police, black people face racism every day in this country, and if black people feel that this is, to them, this is a life and death thing. You get arrested, you can be killed. It's a scary thing to be arrested if you're black. And so I think I don't want to say to people you shouldn't be social distancing or you should be social distancing and all that stuff. Protest is protest, and the whole point of protest is sometimes breaking the rules. But I'm not convinced that any of the British ones do anything. But if black people in Britain think we should organise in Britain, then I think we should listen to them. And if you can and you feel safe doing it, then do it.
We'll go to check out some comments. San Fran's in the house from both Cumnicks, old and new. Which one consistently wins hee-haw and gets pumped regularly?
That's both. Glenafton, if you knew Cumnock and Cumnock, because there's another team for a wee village just outside Cumnock that wins everything now. So, but we don't mention their name.
Anne Barker's in the house. Hello, Anne. He's a Nigel.
Anne Barker is my big sister. Oh, my family's turning up now.
Donald Trump is a complete psychopath, says Alan.
Aye.
That's a really good article. There's a really good article about how that how he constantly lies about how many golf championships he's won when there's actually
everything all the time.
And he cheats on the golf course. He's actually constantly cheating. So it's like he doesn't actually know he's lying, or he just doesn't care he's lying.
But I don't think he's ever had to care. He's a spoiled rich kid. And like a lot of those kind of like guys like him, he's never actually see all of his entrepreneurial things and his clubs and all that. They'll lose money. He only has money because he had money. It's just like owning the right property and the right things at the right time when you've got money. So these people make money out of just owning a bit of property and then selling it on later. And all the things he tries is like a bit like that Alan Sugar, all his stuff, Amstrad and all that, all fucking fell apart bankrupt. The only reason to have money is he has money is he was able to buy big chunks of land in London.
I think he's. I don't want to quote, but I think he started with a paltry 100 million or something like that.
Aye. Trump's dad.
Apparently, I seen a stat on it. Don't quote me on that number though. I plucked that out of the air a wee bit there, but there is a study that's been done that if he just kept that money in the bank and let the interest rise up, he would have a lot more money than he does now.
Aye. I mean, that's his thing. And his dad was the same with property owning. I'm not saying people own houses now. I'm not going to go all property owners, but that was where he made his money. And he was a spoiled kid. So he's just his whole life, he's just people like throwing money about and people doing what he's told, doing what he tells them. And you can see that sometimes in the presidential things. He's looking over to these advisors and all that, and they're embarrassed and they've got to like confirm what he says. They're all scared. They're all smiling when he's saying something crazy because they're scared to criticise him. It's a bit like watching Stalin or something.
Chris Strachan says he's on the Cider Spiders were awesome at Big Day in Falkirk. Big Day out in Falkirk, I think that'll be amazing. Have you got a political poem, Jim?
Oh yes, I've got political poems. I think I've read two of them already.
Okay, well, let's go. Let's have a wee intro and then
right. Okay, I go. Right.
I'll just do that. Okay, so 3, 2.
An American psychiatrist calls it audio stimulation.
You call that radio?
This poem's called Undiscovered Country, and I wrote it around the time of the Scottish referendum, but it's independence referendum. But it's about voting and how you can actually do things that change things sometimes. It's called The Undiscovered Country. Turns out it was there the whole time. It was right under our noses. It was hidden in plain sight. It was blowing in the wind. It was flowing in the sea. The world we knew was sat in the street with a cup from McDonald's, while the couple who walked past her without noticing discussed whether to buy matching 4x4s, each the price of 2 flats in Govan Hill. The undiscovered country had a commonwealth based on need, not greed, where that woman could rise up, lift up her cup and take her place in the world, bolstered by her share of the national take. The world we knew stayed at home, scared to go outside, scarred by the daily battle to just get through from one day to the next, aided and abetted by television and weed. The undiscovered country had a well-trained force, an army of social workers that would lift him out of the trenches, help him conquer his fears and plant his victory flag firmly in the grounded society. The world we knew lived 5 to a house, one top crammed into narrow streets, while unused land lay unsold, waiting for the right buyer at the right price. The undiscovered country had spare rooms, gardens back in front, a green and healthy community with space enough for children to play and people to share. The world we knew had covered it up. We couldn't see the wood for the oil. The undiscovered country was there the whole time. It was blowing in the wind. It was flowing in the waves. It was toing and throwing in the tides. It was glowing in the sun. It was there the whole time. But we chose to live somewhere else.
Strange mood of our time.
You call that radio?
Here to tell the people that we hear you. One God will not allow.
You call that radio?
However you want to say it.
You call that radio?
You call that radio?
However you want to say it, that's kind of part of the fun.
Powered by our patrons.
Brothers and sisters.
We are indeed powered by our patrons. Thanks to everyone who's supporting the show over at Patreon. That's a PayPal link as well. We just watched a live poem from Jim Monaghan, who's in the house tonight. Some nice comments. Alan saying another great poem.
Thanks, Alan.
Peace hand claps from Serena. Brilliant, says Lee. Alan says, Alan Sugar and Donald Trump both did The Apprentice and they're both shite businessmen, says it all.
Exactly.
Gordon says, Trump's a clown, he owned a casino and lost money.
That's what I mean. They don't. These guys aren't clever. They're just guys with money. They're not clever at all. Alan Sugar on Twitter last week, right, fell for this thing that he thought was this kind of mathematical discovery he'd made. Somebody said, if you 2020, if you add on your age to the year you were born, it'll come to 2020. Isn't this amazing? And I thought, no, if you add on your age to the year you were born, you get this year. That's what your age is. And I retweeted that. I was like, this is amazing. I've checked it and it's true. Of course it's fucking true. If you're 40, 40 years ago was the year you were born. 40 years later is this year. It's fucking... This guy is a millionaire. He's not clever. No, he's not clever at all. He didn't know that your age is the same thing as adding the year you were born. If you added the age to the year you were born, you would get this year. He didn't work that out. So, do you know what? You know, I don't think any of them are that smart, these businessmen. And what I especially don't like is the ones that give it all that. If you just try hard, if you want something enough and all that, that's bollocks. If you want something enough and you don't have the resources to get it because of your condition, because of your medical condition, because of your financial position or anything like that stuff, then it doesn't matter how much you want it, you're not getting it. It's bullshit.
Do you think, I mean, obviously these people do believe that they're actually, they're good businessmen. They got, so they're starting with all this, you're starting with all the money, all the contacts as well, and a privileged education. And yet they're going to get maybe 500 grand to start your business. And then they pat themselves in the back because they've got a successful business.
Yeah, that's it. Those guys, I think what Alan said there about being an apprentice, they play at being businessmen, so they're good at playing at being businessmen. But all their big initiatives didn't make any money, and they're not alone. Loads of them are like that. They've went bankrupt several times and just get more money and do it all again. You know? It's
mad, isn't it? Just being able to go bankrupt and start again.
I sometimes can't believe. Did you ever watch these programs like Grand Designs and things like that? And there's people like go like that, I'm going to build this house, and they say, how much is it going to cost you? And they say £400,000. And I'm thinking, what kind of job do these people do to get £400,000? Halfway through it, they run out of money. And I went, oh, that's in up shit creek. And then they go, aye, so I had to borrow like £100,000 from my dad and all that. I'm thinking, who the fuck, who are these people? Where are these people with this money? What jobs do they do that they can borrow £100,000 for their dad on a half-built thing? Sometimes I wonder where all the money goes in this country, because there's people that can throw it about. But
there's also a lot of jobs that aren't actually that important that are probably...
I know there's any money.
Yeah, everyone seems skinning.
They're fleecing somebody. If they're making money, somebody's losing money somewhere. And some of them are outrageous amounts.
Well, you don't get to the top by being nice like Richard Branson. I should take a bit of stick for that, for saying that.
I wouldn't. I remember, like, see when I was a kid. I mean, I don't remember it. I've read about it because I was only a wee kid. But there was a thing called super tax, and if you were like a billionaire in that, you paid 98 pence in the pound tax. You just do everything you earned over X amount of million or say here, geez that you've got too much. I think you should do something like that again. How can there be billionaires? What can a billionaire do with any more money? Billionaires should just anything else you earn for now on, just get to us. We'll sort it out. We'll decide.
Snakes and ladders, so like you get to £1 billion, and then that means you hit the snake, which means you lose all your money and you go back to the start again.
No, keep your billion or whatever. Just that everything else after that is 100% tax. Maybe not $1 billion, a lot less than that. Keep 10 million or something. Once you've earned 10 million, if you earn 20 million, just give the other 10. You find 10 is your limit. We're not letting you have any more.
You don't need more than 10, surely.
No, but if you let them have more than 10 million the day like Trump builds a fucking golden toilet in his office and all that, or like Elton John will build a fucking like
a toilet made of cocaine,
a chandelier out of his swimming pool or something. Do you know what I mean? So there's no point in having the money in. They've run out of things today. There's football players have got a garage with 19 motors in it. Like you can't drive them or just take them off them, keys them.
Mary Veronica says, great idea, Jim. Ian Smith says poets are loaded. It's all the pamphlets.
The most lucrative of all the art forms.
Is that a ginger tash? I think he's having a pop at me. Does it look ginger? I think it's just because I've hit the sun. It's probably a bit blonde. Colette's tuned in. Baby Doll's checking out. Yeah, babes. Loved your poem, babes. Shouts to Colette. Lee says, Jim is the people's poet. Such brilliant poetry, but so accessible and engaging.
Thank you.
And as we explained earlier on, if anyone wants to get Jim's poetry, you can do so by going to speculativebooks.net. And there is a limited edition version coming out very soon, or a bonus edition with more stuff.
An updated version. I don't know what we're going to call it. We'll call it something. I don't know. What do you call these things that come out? Director's cut or something?
A director's cut. Which always confused me because you would think that a director's cut would mean that they'd cut out bits. That's the way I always thought. It confused me when I first heard that. So, Jim, we're going to just to wrap things up. I've got a tune called "The Broken Mold" lined up.
Aye.
So, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Aye, this is by a guy that I know well. Aye, when I came back to London and moved back to Cumnock, I met up with a guy called Matt Gilroy who I did everything with together. Matt died last year, and me and Roscoe Vacant. I don't know if you know Roscoe Vacant.
I do know Roscoe Vacant well, man. I've not seen him in many, many years, but he was everywhere.
He was a good friend of ours, and we were on the Scottish Socialist Party together at the time and things. And Ross was a very close friend of Mark's, and he'd written a song once about that era called "Help." You've probably heard it. "Help Save the Youth of Cumnock and Doon Valley," which he sang at his funeral. And then on the anniversary of Mark's death this year, he released a single which is a tribute to Mark called "To the Broken Mold" with his new act, which is called "I Shake Like Static." It's a really emotional but a beautiful song.
All right, man. Well, let's just play that, and then we'll come back and just talk a little bit more about it. Two seconds. Okay, and we're good.
passages. The years have gone by so fast. The weight of your memory takes me down a familiar path. Tear down the balustrades, the kitchen's where you left. Friend to fall asleep, lies which we had. I can't see your name. No, I can't see your name. And I can't see your name. No, I can't see your name. Structures and barricades, we find each other in the dark. From the brigades to kneel the bone, it was always all about the work. You said take no heroes, money die. I'm born and sons love us for you tonight, my brother of mine. But I can't say your name. No, I can't say your name. And I can't say your name. No, I can't say your name.
Yes, that was beautiful, man. I've not heard that before.
It's great. I mean, he doesn't go under the name Roscoe Vacant anymore, but Ross Morris is his name. But Ross was around coming at the same time as us as well. They're great. I
met Ross first time through, I think it was Sammy B, Pixie Brown, that introduced me to Roscoe, and probably yourself as well, if I'm right in thinking. So
I find it hard to place dates, but yeah, he was around at that kind of early part of this century, probably.
He's got, is that part of an album or what?
There's an album coming out soon, which he told me the title of and I can't remember. They've got subscribe on YouTube. We've got a few tracks out and there's an album coming out, I think, later this year, September or October or something. Really good stuff though.
Lots of people.
Mark Roy was like my best mate, and we run indie club together. We used to put on little book festivals and film festivals, and we wrote things together. We did everything together. So it was a sad loss. And the cover there, the cover you can see on the track there is the cover of the record is all stuff that Mark wrote. Like the fantastic kind of novella called Thugs and Thieves, which was set in the Doom Valley. It was meant to be around about Cumnock Way and all that stuff. And some brilliant short stories and some great poems as well.
Amazing stuff. Fine tribute for Roscoe to Mark. Lots of people enjoying it. Serena, that tune was outstanding. Lee, haunting. This is beautiful and heartfelt. Thomas is enjoying the show. Great way to finish, says Alan. Beautiful song. I love Roscoe's stuff. And this is a brilliant interview. Well done, Mark and Jim.
Thank
you. Yeah, it's stupid. Some people, it's stupid that some people have money that they can't spend in their lifetimes.
I shouldn't be allowed.
I was asked that, but I also thought bleach blonde. Bleach nut. Definitely, there's been no bleaching going on. Jim, you're an inspiration. Some amount of work you've done.
Do you know? I've been lucky. Almost all my life, I've been able to just do whatever the thing is in front of me and think, "Oh, that's a good idea. Let's do it." And I've been quite lucky. Don't get me wrong. I've been skint loads of times as well, but I've been lucky in that the people I've worked with every time are really, truly inspirational people who you don't always hear about or see about. I'm quite often the guy they put up front to talk to the telly about Govan Hill Baths and all that stuff, but behind the scenes is people who are just absolutely dedicated. Same when I lived in Cumnock, people dedicated to their communities and all that stuff. And I've been lucky to be surrounded by people like that. And because I'm the poet, I'm the one that they put up front to talk, and so it's and so the impression is that there's a lot that I'm doing, but believe me, it's like I'm just like speaking on behalf of people who are doing seriously good work. Right now, I'm on the board of Romano Lava Roma charity, and the stuff that the local people there are doing in the community and community renewal and Govan Hill Housing Association that are doing through the COVID kind of crisis is phenomenal. It's incredible. Like people that are working harder than they worked before the lockdown. You know, working more hours to deliver things to people and get like information out to people. And so I'm lucky. I'm not really inspirational. I'm just a guy that's like, if somebody says to me, "Well, let's do that tomorrow," if I think it's a good idea, I'll do it. And quite often it turns out to be the right idea. You know.
If there's somebody out there who needs help or is actually wanting to help, how can they get involved?
Do you know the best thing to do to get involved is get involved where you live. Like stand in the place where you live. That's the best thing to do is get involved locally.
So we know Govan Hill Baths are good. I can also recommend Kinnan Park Complex if anyone's in the Kinnan Park area.
Kinnan Park Complex is phenomenal, and it's like Govan Hill Baths. It was a community occupation. The local community occupied that building and took it back for the community. I think before Govan Hill Baths, I think like 3 or 4, maybe 5 years before it. And so the Kinnan Park Complex, wherever you live, find out what's going on in your area and get down there and help out. It's quite often around churches. Even if you're not religious, churches and mosques and all that have a whole lot of stuff going on, and you'll find people through other people. And if you're a tenant in the rented sector, then join Live and Rent. Live and Rent are the best example you'll find of community organising, how to empower communities, how to organise communities, and how to like help the community organise themselves, if you like, rather than come in and organise for it. And you'll learn a lot. If you get involved with Live and Rent campaign, you'll learn a lot, and you'll learn how to be useful, and you'll learn how to get your voice heard and how to make your community heard. So that's what I would do. Do something locally, and if you've got a local Live and Rent branch, join it.
Amazing stuff. Well, I was going to finish with the Cundies for Richard Banana Man, because he's corrected me and said that we didn't play any Cundies chats. Did you know what a Cundie is? Do you know what a Cundie is?
I've no idea what it is.
I found out the other night. A Cundie is a Dundonian word for drain.
A drain.
A drain. Which apparently I also learned that the Glasgow version of that is a stank.
Stank. I know
Yep.
what Stank is. Aye.
No, I didn't know that. So I learned
Aye.
that stank is Glaswegian for cundies, and I was like, what the fuck's a cundie? But I just thought it was Dundee. It was just short for Dundee cunts. So yeah,
Right. I never knew what it meant. If somebody asked me what a cundie was, I'd say it's somebody that's in Gary Robertson's band. That's what.
Yeah,
That's it.
I thought as well. So, but this one's for Richard Banana Man. It's called Coloured Ribbons and Tarnished. Shouts to Richard. So I'm going to play that. Is there any closing words or ways or things that you want people to do?
Support your artists, support your local community, and support your artists. This is a really hard time for the ones who have not had 3 years of good books to claim the HMRC thing. There's a lot of people out there struggling, and I mean really struggling. And if you know of anybody that's out there struggling, like buy the book. That £5 can make a huge difference. Or when they're online, when you see people that are doing online gigs, donate someone if you can, because it is a gig. You can't go and buy a pint with. So, like, give them that money you would have spent in a pint, but help people right now. That's the only thing I'd say. That'd be my, like, go and do it. I'm not going to tell you what particular poets or artists to go and do it. Just do it. If you see somebody performing online, go in there and give them what you would have spent in a kebab.
Brilliant words. Support your local artists. And thanks very much, Jim. It's been
Thanks
a
for
pleasure.
having me, Matt. It's been brilliant.
I've got tomorrow night. We've got Kathy McCormick. Do you know Kathy McCormick?
I recognise the name. You know, I think was she involved in the poll tax campaign and that?
Well, I think just everything. She's just been kind of causing a bit of
I
scenes.
recognise the name. So I've seen the name about it.
A great short film called War Without Bullets.
Yes,
so it's on YouTube. So I would recommend people check that out. And that was, I think that was in the sort of maybe early 90s, mid 90s.
Yeah.
So it was maybe just after poll tax she got and started getting involved. But yeah, she ended up doing stuff with the UN. She's travelled all around the world comparing different communities, and very interesting story to tell. So I'm looking forward to that. That's tomorrow night. On Tuesday, we've got Abdominal. So that's last night's show has been postponed. So check out an absolute Canadian hip hop legend, and obviously just decided that last night we wanted to just respect the Show Must Be Paused campaign, but we will do the show on Tuesday night, this Tuesday, and then on Wednesday we've got the still reigning world poetry champion Sam Small, and on Thursday we've got Capital 1212, more amazing producers and DJs. So looking forward to all of that. If you want to support the show, you can get us on Twitch that I'm putting on the screen just now. Where is it? There's another one. And then we're on YouTube. So if you want to hit the subscribe button and watch all the previous shows, YouTube, we've got about 60 shows up there now. So go to youtube.com/you call that radio. And if you want to support us by becoming a patron, then you can do so by, is that working? No, it's not worked. Now it's worked. Yeah, look at that. Shouts to malfunction. This show is powered by our patrons. We would not be able to do this without people supporting the show. It's free for everyone to watch, but if you can afford a couple of pounds a month, then you go to patreon.com/you call that radio. There's also a PayPal address there and a coffee.com/you call that radio as well. Let's just see if we've got any final words from people. We go, this has been great chat, says Anne. Thanks, Anne.
Thanks, Anne.
Brilliant show, says Gordon. Good show, pal. You're a good cunt. I've absolutely loved this podcast. Thanks, Mark and Jim. Thanks, Mark and Jim. That was fantastic. Thank you. Excellent show again. Thanks, Mark and Jim. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you tomorrow for Kathy. This is a wee tune from the Cundies because we couldn't play the Cundies because we had some sound issues on Monday night. But you can watch, if you enjoy this, remember to watch the full interview with Gary.
When I was wee, I asked my granda about the war. He told me tales of horror and lands awa far. North Africa, 1942, Montgomery's desert campaign. As a young man of the Black Watch, he described El Alamein. It must have been terrible, Granda. How did you ever survive? It was just sheer bloody luck, son. Sheer bloody luck I'm still alive. With tears of pain he remembered all the mates he left behind. Caught in a hellish German barrage and torn by the guns and mines. To the strains of Healing Laddie, the pipers led the way. We forced the Germans back, son, out the wet of Tripoli. Proud Rommel had had enough with the famous Highland Division. The Jocks had fought with untold bravery. Retreat was wise decision. You ken your other Granda was there, serving as a gunner. The lads had your admiration. Boy, they had the Germans scunnered. Well, from there we went to Sicily, where sadly mere good comrades fell. Then after that, the Lion's Den, the Third Reich's him itself. Well, that wee lad, he sat there, just staring, open-mouthed. These tales he'd remember a' his life. Son, you've heard the truth. But Granda, what's these coloured ribbons and stars with tarnished brass? They're medals of the campaign, son, and memories of the past. And now as a man I understand that yearly November morning, why we stand in thoughtful, silent respect at the Puri Brain morning. Floors of the forest laments eerily, the bugler sounds the last post. And tearfully I picture twa young men caught in hell near the North African coast.
I got you. Ready? Yeah, he's 1 2. 1 2 1 2. Yo, this is Charlie Tuna from Jurassic 5 live and direct here in Glasgow, Scotland, and you call that